So as the recording button has started, I will go ahead and get our call kicked off. I know it is the top of the hour. Good morning, everyone. Or sorry, good afternoon. It is 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time where I am at. Normally, I'm on the West Coast. My name is Bobby Min. I'm the Chief Programs Officer for Humane Rescue Alliance. I'm going to toss it over to my amazing co-host, Claire, to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. Happy Monday. My name is Claire Callison. I'm the Director of National Operations for Austin and American Pets Alive. Good to see everyone. We have a great panel lined up for you today. I think everyone's going to love it.
Yes, we are so excited. We have so many speakers, actually 4 speakers that are going to be talking about programs that they operate, which Claire will be facilitating. But before we get into that, we obviously have some business to take care of. One of the things that we wanted to mention from Maddie's Fund, we love that you all come to these calls, and we want you to be able to keep coming to these calls. And so in order to do that, we have to make sure that you update your Zoom. So the Zoom is requiring you to have a certain level or update. And so Allison is going to drop it in the chat to make sure that you have the most recent update. So that way, sometime before the end of April, you don't get kicked out. So please do that if you have not done that yet. And as a reminder, Allison is dropping that information in the chat. We do have one of our favorite things to do, which is give away some money today. But before we do that, we want to open the floor for national updates. So if anybody from a national organization would like to send us an update, please unmute and do that now.
Hi there.
Go ahead, Suzanne.
Hi there. I'm Suzanne Delanzo from Good Pup. I wanted to share that the next webinar in our free spring series on surrender prevention is this Friday, April 21st. It's at 2 p.m. It's Do You Have a Jumping Bean for a Dog? We'll focus on reasons why dogs jump, explore how to prevent jumping from becoming a problem, and build plans to solve when jumping is already a problem. I'll add the sign up link to chat. You can sign up there. This and all previous webinars are going to be free to access and are available on our website. I'll put that link in chat as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that great resource. And Cathy, let's go over to you.
Thanks, Bobby. Thanks, Suzanne. That sounds pretty exciting, actually. I might have to sign up for that one. So Cathy from Canada, for those of you who don't know me, which I think is few, at any rate, just a reminder that you can register for our Humane Canada Summit for Animals up until April 24th. So the time is coming when you won't be able to register any longer. It's going to be held in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia this year. So tack on a few extra days, front or back, so that you can see Vancouver Island and maybe get up to Tofino. We'll look forward to seeing you all. And just a reminder that because it's in Canada, it's Canadian dollars. So you get more bang for your American buck there. Thanks, Allison, for popping it in the chat.
And I just got to say, I love that there's 172 people from all over the world on this call, and Cathy from Canada jumps on, and it's like, there are very little chances that all of you do not know who I am. So I'm going to just start calling you Cathy from Earth at this point, because apparently you know everybody, Cathy. Summer, let's go.
Okay, I'll need a new t-shirt.
Fair enough, Cathy. Over to you, Summer.
Having trouble unmuting today. Okay, so just wanted to let everyone know that Cuddly Community Programs has some pretty exciting stuff going on with our wish list, partner wish list, free giveaways, as well as we are going to be starting a new partner buying program. So I am going to be doing a demo this Wednesday. I'm going to put the registration link in the chat if you're interested in needing support with product donations for pet pantries, foster wish lists, general shelter wish lists. Would love to see you there.
Awesome. Thanks, Summer. Anyone else?
I just want to give an update. This is Bob Tubbs in Williamsburg. I've been talking about second graders doing profiles and bios of shelter animals. We've got 370 of them that are doing it in the region. And Busch Gardens decided that they wanted to thank us by donating the park on May 11th. We had the Attorney General of the state of Virginia, for anybody on the East Coast coming. The lead investigators at the Attorney General's office, we're doing some lifetime achievements. We've got 200 second graders and their families coming to help us with the awards. Sesame Street characters are going to be part of it, and the second graders are going to help co-host the event. So it's going to be a fun day at Busch Gardens, and it's all been donated because of the work that these kids are doing. We're up to 50 animals donated in the past, or I'm sorry, adopted in the past 5 weeks since we started this project. And it's really, really fun to be part of. So if any of you are in the Williamsburg area on May 11th, I'll put my email over there, and please feel free. We'd love to have it. We're having the governor declare it the Animal Welfare Day, and the event's being emceed by the the Deputy Director of Public Safety for the state of Virginia. So it's going to be a nice event.
Bob is never short of a flex for his organization, and Sesame Street characters and a theme park. You're giving all of us FOMO, Bob. I actually haven't even looked at a map to see where you're at, but I feel like I need to make a trip out there. So if you want to send Claire and I to come hang out with you, we would be happy to have you fly us out for the weekend.
Williamsburg, Virginia, just about 40 minutes from Richmond.
Awesome. Thanks, Bob. Anyone else?
Hello, Bobby. This is Vincent. He's director of the Human Animal Support Services Project. And I just wanted to remind everybody to please register for our webinar on the 27th, which is, I mean, it's getting a tremendous response. It's called It's Raining Cats and Kittens, How to Save More Feline Lives This Kitten Season. So all you cat crazy people out there, we definitely are throwing you a bone to assist you, especially in this. We know that kitten season is starting now, and so please be. We have a tremendous panel: Peter Wolf, a few others, Danielle Bays, that will really give you a lot of great information on that webinar. So yeah, looking forward to seeing all of you.
Vincent, Claire knows that I appreciate that pun that you dropped in there where you're throwing us all a bone. And for the folks that have not heard of the Human Animal Support Services Project, it is a project that really came to life during COVID. It was a big part of these calls. And the purpose of Human Animal Support Services is really to shift our model to be more human-centric, getting in the community and talking about programs just like we're going to talk about today. So I'm very excited about that. Last call for national updates.
I'm going to jump in if I can, Bobby.
Of course.
I am here representing actually the Shelter Slumber Potty. We had our first international potty on March 25th, where we raised over $560,000 through 41 organizations, 38 in the United States. And then there were 3 organizations internationally, one in Canada, one in South Africa, and one in Brazil. It was so much fun. And so we have a date for next year. It's April 6th of 2024. And I'm going to throw an interest form in the chat. And it was just like so much fun. We had sponsors from Cuddly and Purina, and it was just a great event. So we'd love all of you to join us next year because we're going to make it even bigger and even better. Thanks.
Thank you, Jamie. I'm so glad to hear your voice. And for folks that are not familiar with the Slumber Potty, it's really a way to activate your community, to learn more about your facilities, literally have an overnight at your organization, your facility, spend time with your pets. And it just really gets people back into our facilities, working with us, and raises well-needed funds. So if you have not checked it out, please do. Anyone else? Okay, good, because we're running short on time and I don't want to miss my favorite part, which is handing out some money from Maddie's Fund to very, very well-deserving organizations like all of you. So I'm going to toss it over to the team from Maddies for the monthly grant giveaway.
Thanks, Bobby. Hey, everyone. Happy Monday. So my name is Kelly Clarity. I'm the grants manager at Maddie's Fund. And every month we give away money, which is so exciting. And I will keep this really short and sweet because we have a big program to get to. So let me share my screen real quick. All right, Bobby, I share a very similar fear of yours. I'm always going to share the wrong thing.
Oh yeah, the whole desktop is just, there's too much vulnerability for me.
Yes, so y'all can see my screen and I will put it in play mode. All right, so our winners from March 2023 we have our winners for our weekly community conversations. And we have 4 winners, $2,500 each. Our first winner is Jerry Golonka from Tiny and Tall Rescue. Next is Sam Myers, Chesapeake Rescue Alliance. We have Katie Pauley of Yellowstone Valley Animal Shelter. And Leah Santelli of Animal Protection Society of Durham. So congratulations to the 4 of you. And we're going to do one more announcement. We've got our giveaway from Maddie's Pet Forum that we do every month with one winner, $3,000. And it's Carol Jesse of Angels of Assisi. So congratulations. Bobby, do we have time? If anyone of our winners are on, do we have time for them to come on and say hi real quick?
We absolutely have a quick minute. If someone just wants some cash, please unmute and be like, this is an awesome day. Anyone?
This is Jerry Kalanka from Tiny and Tall Rescue out in Illinois, St. Charles, Illinois. And I jumped when I saw that screen. Thank you so much.
Amazing.
Awesome. Congrats, Jerry.
Can you very quickly tell us what you will be spending these funds on if you have any idea?
Oh gosh. I'm sure the rescue, I mean, between dogs, I mean, we just rescue dogs. We have a, vetting that we have. We always are we're looking to, we've been in existence for about 5 years. We're looking for a facility. So, if we ever find one, it would go for that if there's a fund for that, but otherwise it would just be on, we're all foster based. So it would be for, if there's anything the fosters need, we like to supply them with their supplies that they have. The food banks that we get the foods from and everything.
I love it. She said all the things, Bobby. Don't make me pick. I got a good amount of money. I'm gonna spend it on all the things. So thank you so much.
Fosters can come up with some good, good things that we have. If we don't have it in storage, we try to provide it for them because there are helpers for all dogs coming in. So
I love it. Well deserved. Congratulations. We hope you still keep coming to these calls.
Oh, of course.
Because we are so short on time, if anybody else.
Okay, Bobby, can I, Bobby, can I just do one thing? And I swear it's going to be fun. There are 5 people that won money at Expo because they sat in the front row of 2 of the presentations that we supported. And I'd just like to read their names off if you bear with me. Okay, Jessica Lopez, the Paw Mission, Renana McCaskill, Detroit Animal Care and Control, Roberto Fernandez, Emancipet in Austin, Kathleen Wooden Knife from, I'm not going to do this any good. She's from Mission, South Dakota. It's an animal group, and Donnell Randolph from Oakland Animal Services. Each of those organizations won $3,000.
Oh my gosh, Mary Smith.
Wow.
It definitely feels like a Monday motivation from you, just blessing us with another 15 grand for organizations. Thank you so much, Maddies. This is all thanks to Maddie. All right, Claire Callison, without further ado, I'm going to toss it over to you as our facilitator of this awesome presentation that's coming up.
Thank you, Bobby. And it's such a great way to start the week, hearing all these Maddie's winners, and congrats everyone if you're on. Great job, everyone. It's awesome. Awesome. Love that. So we have a really incredible panel lined up for you today. We are going to be talking about prison programs. And I don't know about everyone else, but this has been somewhat of a mystery for me in terms of how do they work? How do you get them started? Or how can your shelter rescue tie into these programs? So we have some of the leading experts in our country running some of the most amazing and impactful programs. We have Kyle, Cathy, Alex, and John all here, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. If you have questions for them, please put them in the chat. I'm just going to keep the call going with questions for them, but they're really going to lead the way here. So I guess we'll start with intros. Alex, you're right in front of me here. So we'll start with you first, and then we can move it to Cathy. Alex, do you want to intro yourself?
Yeah, I'm Alex Tonner, and I'm the founder and president of Paws for Life Canine Rescue.
And Cathy?
Cathy King. I'm the founder and executive director of Canines with a Cause.
And John, I see you there.
Yeah, my name is John Grobman. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for Paws for Life Canine Rescue.
And Kyle.
Good morning, everyone. I am Kyle. I'm the Chief Executive Officer for Liberty Dogs.
Thank you all so much for quick intros. And I know we're really eager to hear about your background and what your programs entail. So I think we'll touch on that a lot as we get moving through this discussion. And feel free to, if I'm really opening up the questions to all of you. So feel free to jump in and talk to each other too. So we're just going to keep it pretty open-ended and conversation based. But I would love to just get started with how did you establish a relationship with the prisons or the prison that you work with? And maybe that will lead into a little background about how your program works. Since Kyle, you just kicked it off or finished off, do you want to start, and then we can just go around in here?
Absolutely. So I've been with the service dog industry for just over a decade now, working for a variety of different functions, both starting as well as facilitating continual success in shelter programs or as well as correctional facility programs. Now, Liberty Dogs itself is a newer organization. We're currently under development and our timeline is 2026 for completion, but we look to heavily utilize correctional facility programs throughout the early implementation of our organization as well as ongoing. So right now, what we are doing is currently facilitating the relationships with the Department of Corrections for some of these programs that can be able to successfully house programs to raise service dogs or future service dogs, as well as utilize that incarcerated population as a training source to set these canines up for success as they transition into advanced training for future service work. So the way that we've utilized or facilitated contact is with the network within Department of Corrections. So finding individuals who will really be that champion for these organizations moving forward. And that has led to a lot of the success in the programs I've been involved with.
That's perfect. Thanks, Kyle. And feel free, Cathy or Alex or John, to also chime
in. So we've been running prison programs for 9 years, coming up in May. We started our service dog program in 2016. We actually use shelter dogs to be service dogs, and we find the success rate much higher than puppy raisers. Not that, there's anything wrong with puppy raisers. It's just that we can actually get more dogs through the program at a certain age. And then we just recently launched a first responder program. So we place therapy dogs in firehouses. And then we just started an RVT educational program. So where we're going to be teaching people who are incarcerated how to become RVTs. John can tell you more about that. I came up with the idea, but I had zero to do with implementing it, and he had 100% to do with implementing it. So he knows more about that program than me. So he can tell you about it.
Yeah, we're just getting ready to launch this month, and it's a big deal in California because the Department of Corrections is kind of technophobic, and the participants will all be given a laptop. They've already installed Wi-Fi in the housing units, and they'll take 480 modules, video modules, over a 1.5 year period, and they will become a certified RVT. But they'll have to do. There's wet labs inside the course in the housing unit in the prison with the doctors coming in, but they will do an internship when they come in and to get their license. If that's what they choose to do. And we partnered with companion pet partners to get this done. It's an incredible program.
I love it. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say over to Cathy.
Yeah, Cathy.
Jump in. So I've been in nonprofit animal rescue for what seems like most of my life before I was born. But while working as executive director of Friends of Animals Utah, it really just came to me there has to be another way to get some of these dogs that are really tough to adopt out into places besides home, careers. What else can they do? Where else would they be happy? Prison made sense to me because you have people who really want to give back, and they have lots of free time. So I started Canines with a Cause as a program of Friends of Animals Utah, and eventually it spun off into its own because there was so much going on with animal-assisted therapy and veterans coming home with PTS. I contacted the Department of Corrections in Utah, and they thought it was completely crazy to want to pair a shelter dog with a veteran with PTSD. But we eventually started training programs, getting the dogs ready to be placed with the veterans, partnering with the VAs. We're now in Idaho, Nevada, and Utah with our programs. We have 2 prisons, one in Idaho that we've been working with for quite some time, and one in Northern Nevada. Unfortunately, Utah is still on hold just due to staffing issues going back to COVID, which has been a huge problem in all of the prisons with COVID and just making a comeback. But it's been amazing for me is that the dogs that even if they don't make service work, we find other jobs for them, whether it's avalanche, drug sniffing. We've paired dogs with children who really just needed a loving companion. But having the time in the prison, we really get to know the dogs and their personality and where they're best suited. And of course, if they don't really want a job, they find a loving home and we know about them. They've been assessed, they've had some training. They come with a great little book from the inmate who trained them, telling the people about their future adopters about them. So for us, it's just been a really wonderful opportunity to get dogs out of shelters and find them a really great place where they can live their lives and be happy.
Thanks, Cathy.
How long have you been around, Cathy? How long has your prison program been
We started
going?
in 2011, and the prison, for our first prison program, we moved the dogs in 2014. So it was a journey, a very long, interesting journey, getting the dogs and training the inmates and really getting the Department of Corrections on board in Utah. And the 2 prisons after that actually approached us. The prison Warm Springs, which was in Carson City, and Orofino in Idaho approached us wanting dog prisons in the prison. So that really led to our expansion. And once we had the dogs being trained in those areas, we paired up with appropriate trainers and humane societies and just sort of created a template of starting programs like this.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's been a good journey. 2 of our trainers that are currently working for us started working for us in prison. They were both incarcerated when they started, and they did a great job, and they still are. They're very dedicated. And there was a question in the chat about safety. There are no safety issues. The handlers and the people that live in these prisons treasure these dogs. The dogs are the closest thing they will ever have to seeing their children again or anything to really love and nurture. So it's amazing how they're treated with love and respect. And yes, the trainers get sad when they have to give them up, but they know they have another dog coming in. And they know that the dogs are going out to really help someone. And they've done something that really is redemption for them. So I've personally never came across any safety issues, nor do I know of anyone else who have had programs that have had issues. Usually it's the fight to get to the dog to at least pet and be with them, which sometimes is a distraction when you're training. So yeah.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Cathy. I'd love to hear from all of you on what you feel success means for a member that's participating in this program. And John, I know you've had an interesting story too, but if you want to get started in terms of what determines success with one of members of the program, and then we can just go around.
Absolutely. So I wasn't always the chief operating officer. I was incarcerated and sentenced to life in prison under the California 3 strikes law. In fact, I had 6 life sentences. So I was sentenced to die in prison. And the dog program, Alex, the dogs themselves, like, changed every aspect of my life, and gave me a new appreciation kind of for everything in the world, including love, which is totally devoid in the prison system. There's nothing, well, at least in the level 4 facility I was at in California, there's a lot of hatred and racism and violence. And this neutralized everything and brought people together for a common cause, which was to, save a dog's life and then give back to the community. So it was a very powerful transformation that we watched with so many different people. And in most cases, people that are serving long-term sentences, there's no hope to ever go home. So they're doing it purely for the opportunity to give back, which is, something I did. I was fortunate to become the first person in California to receive a recall of commitment, which meant I could come home. And Alex immediately said, "Come on, join the team," which I did. And we've now, I think we've hired 7 other formerly incarcerated men at our facility. And, we have a reentry program that helps people when they come home with warm handoff services. So they're not coming home and having no assistance navigating, reentry. And it's been very powerful to watch myself. We've had 41 men commuted by the governor in our program, which is extraordinary. They were all serving life and life without the possibility of parole. And everyone has come home and been very successful, and they're homeowners and everybody's taxpayers and doing what they're supposed to do. It was 0% recidivism rate with over 200 men coming home through the program. And so it's evidence, like all the dog programs are, it's evidence that this is rehabilitative in nature and that these are the things that the department should be investing in. So it's great. I love it, and I love what we do.
Absolutely. There's a lot of love in the chat and truly inspirational. Thanks, John. Alex, do you want to chime in there?
No, I mean, we're just so fortunate to have John, I mean, when we started this program, we were one of the first groups to go into a maximum security prison. So the idea was, great, no one's getting out. This is not they're going to get to become these amazing trainers that then can go on to mentor so many other people. And that took a big deep dive in about 2017, when I'm going to say there's only about 4 guys out of the original 15 that were in the program that are still in the prison now, and they're waiting to come home, because everyone that we went into was serving life without the possibility of parole or life sentences. So my biggest panic was, who's going to run the program if you're not here? But it's a great lesson for everyone to step up and step into a role of leadership and family and just helping each other out and really teaching people the skills on how to work with each other, not just as a human being, but like seeing people for who they are. There was obviously in the beginning, there was barriers of race and everything else, and there's none of that in our program, and everyone works very harmoniously together. So I'm just super proud of everyone that's in the program and everything that these guys do and continue to do on the outside, whether it's working for us or running their own facilities and doing their own dog training. I mean, we want to just lift people up because we can't do it all, nor do we want to. So we want to give everyone those tools to be able to be successful in their own right. Yeah.
Well, another thing too, and I'm not sure your program deals with this, but a lot of the incarcerated trainers have other jobs. So taking on a dog, you think it sounds wonderful. I have this great dog. It's not a pet. They are training the dog. The dog is with them 7/24, and they're having to go work in the laundry or the kitchen or something else. So this commitment is not an easy commitment for these folks. It's really taking on something that will affect their sleep, because as we all know, sometimes the dogs don't want to sleep at night, and they're dealing with them and not really having that privacy. So there's a lot to be said for what they're investing time-wise into caring for these dogs as well, which is a lot. And in the prisons we're in, they're not allowed to touch. So having a dog really is the only situation where you can touch a living creature. And there's also too, it's amazing.
I believe the guys are allowed to touch each other, but obviously we can't hug anyone when we go in. But John, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys can give each other hugs, right?
It's not very common, but actually when
give everyone a hug.
There's no hugging in Utah.
It became fan. Like our largest program has 120 trainers in it in one housing unit, and between 30 and 40 dogs. So, and it's a giant family, and it has a structure like any company would. You know, it's program leaders, assistant program leaders, supply managers. So it's run just like an organization on the outside, but with guys that all build each other up. And 60% of our guys are all in college, getting higher educations. Everybody's required to be in self-help groups. They assist each other with going to the board of parole hearings. So the entire thing is like a giant system of rehabilitation, and it's been really an amazing journey.
And to piggyback off all that, when we're talking about success, I mean, words would be a disservice than whatever John just mentioned. I mean, he's the walking testimonial of success right here. Additionally, beyond that, for the handlers, I've seen partnering with the Department of Labor to be able to give some sort of certificate for the hours they've worked while they're part of this program, if they are reentering society, to have a marketable skill, whether it's grooming, whether it's handling, whether it's training. So that's another level of success for these handlers. Now, looking at success through a couple of different lenses, also, I'm going to transition a little bit to set up the facility, primarily the corrections officers, for success, having manuals written out for them to be able to read through and understand each and every protocol. So if they were going to go into, whether it's a cell or whether it's a community living area, to do a search, they understand exactly how to do that and navigate that with those canines in the area. So there's no questions, there's no ambiguity. They can be able to continue to perform their job, as well as have these dogs be residing in this environment successfully in whatever training program they're operating in. And additionally, from an organizational standpoint, I think the other indicator of success is collecting data. I know John mentioned there was a 0% recidivism rate, and you see this consistently throughout these correctional facility programs, where the recidivism rate of individuals who've gone through these canine handling programs is drastically lower than the state's overall recidivism rate. So that in itself right there just articulates the impact or the success of these programs.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Alex, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
I agree with everything Karen says.
I agree as well. The warden in our program in Idaho has been keeping track for the last 3 or 4 years, and it's amazing the statistics. You know, and speaking of staff, the COs are your friends. They're spending time with your trainers and your dogs, and they're excellent foster people. You want to get your guys out on the weekends and be in life situations, especially for service work. And the COs fall in love with these dogs, and they're wonderful foster parents to get them in and out as well too. And they, you know, they enjoy the program. They see the difference in the handlers who are in the program. Very supportive.
Yeah, during COVID, we actually had one CO that would drive our dogs on in the van. You know, we were not allowed in, and bring the dogs out. We never stopped working in the prison with the dogs. You know, because the COs brought the dogs in and out for us. So we've developed those close relationships with some of the COs. And a lot of the COs adopt the dogs that are in the prison. You know, they're great to adopt the dogs. So that's always a plus. Yeah.
I think too, just when you're talking about statistics, we're on our second university study right now. It's an important thing to do. You know, it helps with funding. But mostly, you know, it's important for other agencies to see that this is like scientific proof that this is rehabilitative. And so we want to continue to move forward in that direction. And somebody just sent me a funny message. We want to move forward. We want to move forward and get as much evidence as possible.
Perfect. Thank you. I know I'm interested in, and many others are, on just sort of the logistics of how this works, but so can you answer a little bit about how long participants would stay in one of these programs typically? Maybe how they're assigned assigned to this program or assigned a dog, just any of the logistics that go along with this would be interesting. I'll just open it up.
I mean, for us, we want people to stay in there. The longer the better, because we're training them to become trainers and then to become mentors. So for a requirement for us is that you've got to have a minimum of 2 years left on your sentence, because we don't want to be training people. And it sounds a bit harsh that only have 6 months left on that sentence. That's a lot of energy, time spent putting into someone that's then going to leave the program as they're about to start to really train dogs. So our requirement is minimum 2 years left on your sentence, and then we can bring them into the program. The other requirement is that they have to be programming within other programs in the facility, and they also have to be getting the GED or be in some kind of school. So, and also 3 years trouble-free. So that's our requirements.
Yeah, to piggyback off of that minimum requirement is very important for that consistency is key aspect of canine training. So finding individuals that have a minimum left in their sentence so that you know that canine's best prepared for success. I've seen very creative ways and have leveraged them of individuals who have a shorter duration, and I'm sure Cathy, Alex, and John all have these as well, but identifying whether it's secondary handlers or associated handlers. So if there is someone that just needs to dog sit while one of the primaries and secondaries are receiving medical care or in one of these other programs, you have someone who's been trained, may not have the full responsibility that you would see as a primary handler or secondary handler, but could be able to watch and continue to enforce the expectations of that canine, to enforce all the training that's been poured into that canine while those individuals are away. So I have seen very successful ways to put individuals who have a shorter duration left in their sentence in positions for success to participate in the program.
And we also team up. We have a mentor who is a trainer who's been around long enough that they can take someone under their wing and train them. That also gives them flexibility if they have to leave the dog. That also gives us an opportunity for that secondary person to really see, you know, how responsible, how dedicated they are to being in the program. And that's worked for us over the years of having those positions. But we do require at least 2 years on a sentence because it's a lot of time to train someone and have them get out. Even though we do encourage them to go their lives, we enjoy having them stick around for a bit too.
I think we've just gone into our first juvenile program last month. Again, hiring someone that actually started off in the same facility that he's going to be now the director of the program. And that's an issue that we're having 3 weeks in. Kids just disappear. It's like, well, how many kids were started, John? 15, and now we're down to 7.
Yeah, we basically lose 2 every week, and we don't get 2 new people. So it's a little more of a balancing act. Where at the time we haven't gotten to the point where we're leaving the dogs in because. You know, at any given day there's nobody to take care of the dog. You know, the youth are required to go to school and do all these other things. So our staff are bringing the dogs in each day and teaching them and teaching responsibility and life lessons along the way.
Perfect. That's really helpful. There's on this call there's a lot of shelters and nonprofit rescue organizations that may not be tied into any of these programs or know much about it. But what would you say that shelters and rescues could do to support these programs? Is there anything they can do to support?
Yeah, I mean, there's always, Cathy, I know you're going to say the same thing as me, but there's always sponsorship or donations or, you know, supplies, you know, everyone who supports our program, you know, we let the guys know in that program, they always get a letter of thanks because we're very, you know, transparent on where everything comes from, how we operate. And so, you know, we just connect the outside with the inside, and show the people on the inside just how, you know, embraced these programs are and how welcome they are in the outside world. So I think just you know, supporting any way you can, really. So
I agree with that, and also to helping with assessments. We've had shelters we've worked with for years, and when they get a dog that they know would be great in our program, they contact our trainers right away. And that's huge for us, just, you know, being able to use our time effectively to going out and assessing dogs. So that's a really big deal too. And we, you know, we work with training and letting the shelter personnel know kind of what we're looking for, at least for the service work. So that's a really big deal for us, is the support of helping us find appropriate dogs.
And to piggyback off what Cathy said, is one of the important incorporations for future service work in these service dogs in training is public access. And that's the one area that we can't replicate in a correctional center. So we're always looking for furlough fosters to watch those individuals or those dogs over the weekends, and then return them back for their advanced training or their intermediate training while they're there in the correctional facility Monday through Friday. So, and that doesn't go unsupported as well too. There's additional resources that organizations provide to help those individuals take these canines out and then train them in the public space.
Well, and sometimes at camps, so our prison in Idaho has a camp where the guys go in and out. You know, they fight fires and do other things, and they've been a great resource for us of getting our dogs out. At least during the day, they go to stores and, you know, certain places like that, which is really important for the dogs and that socialization. So camps are good. We've tried youth facilities before and really struggled for the same reason, Alex, as you, is that the turnover responsibility is really tough. Sometimes, although I think the reward from what we've learned in studies is when you start with younger people, sometimes the dogs really do help them change before they get down the road a little bit too far. We're in a women's facility in Utah, and I can say that women are a little bit different trainers than men. They seem to be a little more nurturing with the dogs than men do. There's a little more drama, but it's all good.
Yeah.
I would love if there's lots of great questions in the chat. You've got over 200 people on here, just so eager to hear more. This has been incredible. I wish we had more time, but I'll go through some of the questions here. I know Allison's reflecting on a kitten foster program they had in LA County with a youth probation camp, for anybody asking about cat or kitten programs. But one question was around challenges. So what are some of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome or that you deal with on a day-to-day basis?
I think for us is, you know, one of the prisons that we're in is very union heavy. So just dealing with union, you know, the unions and the hurdles that they put up, like one. And also, like Cathy, you said you had a warden for 4 years. The wardens in CDCR change every 2 years. And so with a new warden comes a whole new set of protocols, and then ROP is looked over. And so the challenge, so change in leadership, and then also dealing with the unions and what they change leadership too, and then what they foresee, thinking that, you know, is a dangerous weapon as opposed to being a tool that you use for a dog. So but that's it. During COVID, we did pretty well with that. We did our most dogs like during COVID because we had the support of the staff. So yeah.
The change of leadership is a biggie. We have a prison that the leadership changes overnight, and whoever loved the program that leaves, the next person doesn't, and you have to really start from scratch. Even though you have an MOU, you have to go back and renegotiate. So that can be really tough, depending on if they think it's just too much work for their staff or they don't see the value. That can be a challenge. Agreed.
And I think even just getting into the weeds about what makes programs successful. So some correctional facilities will allow you to Zoom. Now, Zoom's not the best way to be able to train dogs, but Zoom with your trainers and those offender handlers. But then as a warden turns over, maybe those privileges are removed. And then now you have to figure out ways to get creative so you can have more face-on-face training times outside of those areas. I know everyone's probably sick and tired of hearing it, but the pandemic was also a massive challenge within our recent history. This is a population that can't socially distance. And there's a lot of correctional facilities that just say, we're going to cancel all programs. So come take all of the dogs out of the correctional facility and then have an unannounced end date for, when they feel these restrictions are going to lift and when you can reincorporate a program. So I know that was a massive challenge, especially in the most recent years.
Perfect, thank you. And we had one more question about, Claudia is asking, how does an organization break through the bureaucracy? So looks like they've contacted federal, state, and county sites, but they haven't received a reply after repeated efforts. Also in these, some have women programs too. So they want, Claudia wants to ask, and maybe others have had this experience too, of just not being able to get a reply.
Stop. Keep knocking on the door. Seriously, because eventually that right person is going to step in as ED of your Department of Corrections. Seriously, it's just getting your foot in the door, because no is a big word with the DOC that doesn't understand. So, I mean, I think it's just knocking on the door and continue knocking.
And then also finding out who the community resource manager is at that location and connecting with that community resource manager and any political local council members too that could support what you're doing, because they are in like the prison, CDCR is involved with local council and everything else. Everyone's in each other's pockets, so it's having that person going to head with you as well and trying to get you in there. We were fortunate enough that the warden at the prison that we started in and the captain wanted a dog program. And so was like, will you do a dog program? We were floored. We thought we knew what we were doing and we didn't. So, we learned by our mistakes.
Coming prepared has also been very helpful in the past as well. So rather than just say we want to start a dog program, coming with at least a foundation of protocols, job descriptions for these handlers. Now, it's not cookie cutter. It's not one size fits all. Well, what works great for one correctional facility will work great for another one. You have to allow some flexibility to be able to work with those DOC heads, the wardens, the associate wardens, to make it fit their specific facility. But at least coming with the foundation shows that initial investment and helps get through some of those barriers.
I mean, I think you've got to show so we, in the prison system in California anyway, it's the suicide rate for officers is really high. And so the dogs that we have in our northern leg are actually therapy dogs for the staff too. So when something traumatic happens, to the staff, our dogs actually go out and help them recover or just, give them that little bit of comfort that they need. So it's like a positive on their end too, getting that from the dog. Our dogs also, we're in a prison where it's the only prison with a hospice. So we have hospice dogs that go to the hospice every day and hang out in the hospice every day. And that has a domino effect on the staff too. So it's, once you start to get those animals out and about in the facility and then people start to relax around them, it's a domino effect on the feel good that these animals bring to the whole facility and not just to the people in our program.
Yeah, a lot of the COs are veterans or, policemen, first responders. So you do find a lot of PTS within the staff at these facilities.
Yeah.
Touch on what that means. The hospice in prison, most people who are incarcerated die alone. They die in their cell in the middle of the night. And this particular institution built a hospice, and our trainers go and sit overnight in vigils with the dog and hold their hands so that they don't die alone, and they don't they don't go off into the next life or wherever they're going feeling abandoned. So there's dogs there to give them support and people as well.
Thank you so much for in giving time. Also, I know there was a lot of questions in the chat, but I wish we had more time for this. I know we're going to continue on our Maddie's Pet Forum further conversation, and if there's any other questions, if they pop up. But thank you all so much, Alex, Cathy, John, and Kyle for being here and sharing your wisdom and experience. And everything that you've brought. So thank you so much for being here on this call. I really appreciate you all.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you to the Maddie's Fun team for allowing us to have this conversation. And thank you everyone for joining us this morning.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Have a great Monday, everyone. And we will see you next week. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye.